Get it, get it. All right, family, and we are back with another video. And yes, we got to give it up to The Chi for being renewed for season 8. That's right. I believe this is the longest running black television show with 2 million cross-platform viewers for season 7 premiere. And yes, we are ready for this confrontation. I'm ready for it. As we predicted, we said that this was going down. So let's go into the highlights of episode 3 called More Life. And we see this guy, he has a hoodie on, he's getting on a bus. They don't show his face. Of course, we know who it is, but for those who don't know, it was a good setup to show this guy in his hoodie and getting off the bus and coming back to the city of The Chi. But we don't know exactly who this is and why they are showing this guy walking but not showing his face, right? So it's a good way to kind of create the mystery of who this person is. But let's run on over to Tiff and Keisha's baby shower. Yeah, this is 6 months after the last episode, and we see Tiff looking beautiful with her mom. We see Emmett and Keisha, you know, posing for the camera. And we see your boy Nuck being real nice, bringing a snoo over. And Alicia, she's really not feeling Nuck. She's like, yeah, we got one already. But Tiff is like, please, not today. And, you know, Tiff is just saying that Nuck is a thug with a heart and the whole nine. So everybody's being nice, being cordial. And we see Tracy, boy, man, oh, man, she is out. She is ready. And yeah, what she's saying has been a while, but it looks like she's going to get back in the game somehow, some way. She just doesn't really know how, but it's time for her to spread her wings, and it's time for her to see way more, because we didn't see a lot of her in the last season. What came out to me and popped out to me was a discrepancy between Tiff and Keisha over EJ. And you've been 6 months, and Tiff is pointing out the fact that she asked them to watch EJ. But of course, you know, Keisha and Emmett, they created patterns for EJ. But here comes Emmett. He's like, what's going on? You want to pin the tail on the baby and all of this and that. Keisha leaves, but it looks like Tiff really misses Emmett's presence and the presence of a man in her life as she's going through this. She really misses Rob, but she needed a hug from Emmett. And Emmett was like, okay, man, he getting more mature in his ways, but still. So here's the interaction between Alicia and Bakari, and she's teaching him how to drink and all this and that. She's asking where he's living at. He's like with a friend. And eventually I think she's going to try to move him in, because I don't think she likes him that young, but she sees him as like a son. We see your boy Jake putting on your little cologne or whatever, trying to look good for the ladies. He gets a knock at the door. Who is it? That's right. His big brother, Reg, is at the door. Of course, he's surprised. He thinks he's seeing a ghost, but yes, he gives him a hug because he's happy to see him. He pats him on the head or whatever the case is, and he's like, what's going on? He's like, how'd you find me? Of course, Jake got a lot of questions. But yeah, you know, Reg has somebody on the inside just watching over him. And he's like, why don't you come back? You're gone. Why don't you come back soon and take out duty? He said it was too risky. But Reg is back to take over the blocks as we predicted. And Jake is like, for real, man? You come on, right? So he doesn't really believe him, but whatever it is. So he goes to see Trig, a.k.a. Victor. He's like, yo, I've seen a ghost. And yes, Reg is back. And he rolls up and he's like, oh, you try to replace me, right? Immediately, Victor just pops him right in the face. And he's like, yo, how you going to be alive all this time and not tell us? Jake is like, hold on. You know what? How about we smoke this out? So all three of them smoked on the couch, smoked out, and the whole nine. Victor, of course, has questions like, what are you going to do? He says, I'm going to figure it out. So he's not telling Victor that he's going to try to take over the blocks again. And he's saying that he's going to stay with Jake, and he just doesn't want trouble. He's still calling him Trig. He's like, my name is Victor now. And he doesn't want Reg to bring trouble to Jake's door. But we all know that's exactly what's going to happen when it comes down to Reg. If you remember Reg from the past seasons, we know how he gets down. So we have the reveal, and Tiff is having a boy. Everybody's happy. Everybody's hugging Tiff. Tiff is looking good. I mean, how you pregnant and still looking good? Both Keisha and Tiff looking real good. So, you know, Rob's mom is there. Tiff's mom is there. Everybody's celebrating. But it looks like your boy Emmett is kind of unhappy. He's like, yo, that could be us right now. They decided to go with not finding out whether it's a boy or a girl, but it is what it is. We finally see Gemma and we see G, and they in the studio. And Gemma's like, look, man, things are not moving. We got this producer that we want to talk to. So they let the producer hear it. He's like, yo, it's kind of sleepy. And of course, G is like, yo, I got more stuff, whatever the case is. And she's real arrogant, right? She's like, yo, you got this. And the producer got to put it in check. The executive got to put it in check. Like, you need to be humble and listen. He says that he can get an advanced deal from the label and move them to New York so they could do more development. You know, they're going back and forth, but Jim is like, okay, and G is like, okay. So they're going to move to New York. So that means that, yes, the storyline will come to an end for G and for Gemma, because they're going to New York. You know, whenever anybody leaves the shop, basically their storyline has ended. So this is going to be the end for Gemma and G as far as the storyline. We got Jamal and we got Dom, and they going through it right now because he's trying to hold out till marriage, and she's like, I don't know if I could deal with that, because you know how Dom gets down, boy. She's like, yeah, I got some bodies in my past, but it is what it is. Jake is happy that Reg is back, but is he really happy? We find out that basically Brandon's cousin was the one that was watching over Jake and telling Reg what was going on. So he's telling Reg, like, yo, he got shrooms, he got this new product. It's kind of running a little slow right now, but Reg needs something that's going to pop off. Reg is trying to convince Jake that he doesn't need to sell clothes. He needs to get down with him on whatever he's doing and stay by his side. He roughs him up a little aggressive, throws him against the fridge. Of course, Reg is really aggressive. This is what we remember about Reg, the same old Reg. Brandon's cousin like, yo, we good? He's like, yeah, I'm just getting reacquainted with my little brother. Yeah, he's going to be bullying Jake around like he used to. How long is Jake going to take this now that he's older? We see the preacher man up there, and he's preaching about, you know, not being promiscuous and about following God and holding yourself out to marriage. Dom is there, and Jamel is there, and they feel like they preaching to him. And, of course, Charles is there. He's smiling and laughing about the whole thing. And we see Tracy up in there, and Tracy is looking at Charles. Boy, I think Tracy, boy, she's really open right now, because the vibes that she's sending out is come and get me. So the preacher man goes on and on and on. Charles is entertained, but he catches Tracy's eye, right? And she's looking at him like, oh, okay, he's looking at me. You know how Tracy gets down too, boy. She's putting out that signal. Dom is not really feeling the sermon. Jamel is like, yo, he's preaching to us. She's like, yo, I don't really think that this pastor is practicing what he preaches. She don't believe that he's talking that talk, but he ain't walking that walk, right? And, you know, Jamel, he's preaching to us. We need to really listen to this sermon right here, right? So now we with, you know, Brandon's cousin, and we got Nuck and Tiff. And yeah, it's official. Like, yeah, Tiff is definitely deep in the game now. She is definitely not only selling the smoke stuff at the smoke shop, but now they getting into all types of stuff, right? And they getting showed, you know, the lab and how to make it and how to do all this and that. So he's giving them instructions on how it works and how it goes down, and they're, you know, mixing the stuff together. And not really a lot of dialogue, but we can tell that, your boy Nuck is working with Tiff now and they're working real close. And I'm thinking that your boy Nuck is really feeling Tiff right now. Like they about to fall into something, but they're doing business and basically they're going to buy in bulk and sell it at the shop. And it's going to be a better deal for this guy right here. So, it's all good. He's like, yo, it's a deal. It's a deal. We're going to see what happens. So back to the church, we see Tracy and those beautiful legs walking up. And she walks up to Charles. And Charles is like, hey, how you doing? She's like, yeah, I don't really like, mega churches. He's like, it's all good. And Charles is like, look, I have a feeling I need to pray over you. Can I pray? Can I pray over you? And he puts out his hands and she's like, oh, okay. I haven't really done this before, right? And, I think she thinks that he's trying to flirt with her. And yeah, they hooking up, but I don't think it's in the way that she wants it. But he's actually praying over her for real and says that, yeah, there's a spirit over her to guide her and help her with this bad spirit. And she's a little surprised because he's kind of reading right through it, right? All that googly eyes she was giving him. Yeah, he kind of read through it and he's actually praying for her. Like, I don't think she was expecting that. She may have been expecting him to try to holler at her, but she gets the prayer and then he bounces on her, right? It is what it is. So Maisha, she was invited by Kev to go to California. So you already know, whoever leaves the Chi, that's the end of their storyline, right? So Keisha gives us some words of wisdom, says she's a superstar. She's going to be going into photography and being close to Kev and thinks that's what's best. So bye-bye to Maisha, and we're going to have a going away party. Now, Alicia and Tiff, they're talking about names for the baby. And being that it's a boy, she wants it, to be called Robert, right? She wants the legacy to live on. And Tiff is like, nah, I want him to have his own identity. And she's like, well, you're living at my house and all of this and that. So she's like, just think about it. And of course, Tiff is on some like, I don't know about all that, right? Tiff, she's real stern on what she wants for her baby. But because, Alicia has been taking care of her, she's kind of trying to hang that over her head. So we'll see what Tiff does. Either way, you already know Tiff is going to do whatever she wants to do. Man, preacher man, again, not practicing what he preaches, and he's in the office getting busy with the snow bunny, boy. Charles walks in there. He's like, Pastor. He's like, why didn't you knock? He's like, why don't you be careful? He's like, yo, leave the room, right? Kicks the snow bunny out. And Charles is getting in on the pastor like, do you know you would get caught? We would lose half of our congregation. He's like, your congregation, this is my congregation. And he's drinking on top of that. Yeah, the pastor is definitely falling off. And I think it's going to lead to Charles actually taking over the congregation because eventually he's going to slip up. And yeah, the people are going to find out that he has been messing around and not practicing what he preaches. So I could see Charles actually taking over. And also, he preaches way better. Here we go. Jake is in the car with Reg, and he's like, oh, you know how to drive now, little brother? You don't know how to drive. And we're seeing this aggressive nature of Reg coming back, right? And he basically kicks Jake out and says, I want to drive, and he drives the car. Again, little slight aggressions going on. We got Jamel, and he does this weird backwards proposal to Dom. And she's like, oh, you just proposing just so we can have sex. And he's like, well, you got a pass, I got a pass. How about we put this pass together and create a future together, right? So in a weird way, it goes down. It's a weird proposal. And she says yes. So they're supposed to now get married. We'll see how that goes. We finally get the conversation with Jimma and Jake, and Jim is getting ready to go. And she's like, yeah, are you going to wait for me? And he says, look, to be honest with you, I'm not going to wait for you, but I still love you. And she says, well, I'm not really in love with you anymore and all this and that. And he's like, well, why'd you ask if I'm away? She's like, I just wanted to know. Weird conversation. But again, we are coming to the end of Jimma's storyline as she's going to go off to New York with G and this music thing and see how it goes. She's crying a little bit, but it is what it is. They kind of broke up a long time ago. All right, Marcus is having a meeting with the gentleman. They having a drink, and he's going to be going off. He decides going to go off to New York himself just to protect Gemma and all of this and that, right? So they're like, yo, we got your back either way. And they cheer it up. So that means Marcus's storyline is going to end as well when he goes off to New York. So now we got this guy, Keith, and he's basically talking to Jada, and Jada's like, hey, are you single? He's like, yeah. And then she says, well, she's single too. And he's like, I don't believe that. You know, there's a lot of pretty ladies coming up in here, and, you know, she don't look like she would be single. So, you know, they kind of kicking it. And again, as I said earlier, Tracy's energy is on some like, yo, come and get me, right? So they're kicking it. And basically, it looks like they're going to hook up, right? She's feeling the vibe. She introduces herself, you know, Tracy, Keith, it is what it is. Let's see how, you know, where this goes. So Tiff, she's running the smoke shop, but she's running late for her Lamaze class. And your boy Victor, man, Victor's stepping up a lot. I don't know, fam, y'all let me know. Your boy Vic is being super, super helpful. And it looks like there's a vibe going on between these two. Plus, at the same time, I haven't seen Victor with Fatima since episode 1. So what do you think? You think this is going somewhere? Let me know. So your boy Marquise throws a party for Gemma. It's a going away party for Gemma. It's going down. But he also says and tells her, hey, I'm coming to New York as well. She doesn't want him underneath her. But he's like, look, you can't afford where I live. So it's a going away party for Gemma and also for Maisha. She cries a little bit. It's all good. They hug her. But this is going to be the end of the storyline for her as she's going to California. So they're partying. I'm still interested to see the conversation between Bakari and Lene. So Keith is chopping it up with Tracy. I mean, it was daytime when they met. Now it's nighttime. And they seem to be really getting along. They closing up shop. And the next thing you know, yeah, your boy Keith is smacking cheeks with Tracy, boy. Like I said, like Tracy was ready. It's been a long time. We haven't seen her most of last season, and now she is here getting her cheeks clapped by Keith. Now, again, I don't know where this is going. If anybody was going to clap cheeks, okay, it's going to be Keith now. Okay, what it is. And yeah, she's getting it in and finally, you know, breaking that whole I'm not being with anybody thing. So we're at the house with Tiff and Emmett, right? Keisha's putting EJ to bed. And Tiff has major concerns, right? She doesn't want EJ to forget about his mom. And she's proud of Emmett and his growth, him growing into being a man and a father. But she's really expressing her concerns because EJ's staying with Keisha and Emmett. So your boy Emmett, he steps up. He says, you know what, I'm going to make sure. She really is alone right now. It's just her and Alicia at the house. So she trusts Emmett, and I think she still loves Emmett. And because Rob is gone, she has no other man that she can really trust to be there for her. So he promises. So he talks to EJ, and he tells EJ, listen, your mom's going through a lot of pain. We got to take on some of that pain. So he asks EJ, you know, if he wants to write his mother a letter. He says yes. And that was real cool, you know, for Emmett to say, you know what, let me step up, make sure EJ remembered his mom. So now let's get to the confrontation, family. We got Jake and we got Reg, and they run over to Nuck's house. Bakari answers the door, says he's not there. Of course, Nuck is there, and Reg kind of barges his way in. And Nuck is like, yo, what you doing here? I thought you was unalived or whatever. He's like, yeah, you want to work for me? He's like, I ain't going to work for you, clown. Like, I want the crew back. He's like, nah, it's mine now. Of course, Nuck is like, yo, this is my crew now. So Nuck is not trying to give it up at all. Even though he's trying to turn over a new leaf, here comes Reg coming in the door trying to take over as we predicted this was going to happen. And now there's going to be a major confrontation, and Nuck is saying this time around, I'm going to make sure that you will stay unalive. So family, we predicted this was going to happen. What are your thoughts? Who's going to win this? Is it going to be Reg? Is it going to be Nuck? You know, Nuck is trying to change, trying to do things different. And here comes Reg trying to mess all of that up. So family, let me know, drop your comments below. Who's going to take the blocks back? Is it going to be Reg? Is it going to still be Nucks? You drop your comments below. Let me know. It's your man, Vacay. Until next time, salute.